Hello guys, welcome back to asorock.com, your one-stop shop for everything sports, politics, entertainment, everything Niger, everything that concerns Nigerian news. You have it here on asorock.com. Don't forget to check out the website. It's asorock.com. And for the YouTube channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comments down below whatever you feel like you want to hear on this platform. We are here for you. We listen and we are here to entertain you and keep you engaged. We are going to be giving you reaction videos to news in politics, in finance, in tech, so far as it's coming from Nigeria, and we are here to give you reactions, and we look forward to your own reactions as well in the comments below. So without further ado, let's jump into today's reaction. Today we are going to be reacting to the new CBN capital minimum capital for national and international banks. So the CBN has recently released a how do I call it, a table for capital base for mega banks in Nigeria, and this is from 200 billion upwards. So for smaller banks it's 200 billion, and then for mega banks it's 500 billion. So I mean, mega banks who operate all over Nigeria and internationally, you're looking at 500 billion. Then for smaller commercial banks who operate all over the country only, are looking at 200 billion. And then for regional banks who operate in some parts of the country only, that's 50 billion. And merchant banks is 50 billion naira. Non-interest banks operating all over Nigeria and internationally is 20 billion naira. And then for non-interest banks who operate in the country only, it's 10 billion naira. Now let's see the news and hear what they have to say.
Now for global business updates, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
I always love watching Dr. Ruben.
Good morning, Ayo. Welcome back.
Good morning, Rotus.
We begin with a capital threshold.
Bear in mind, guys, this increase is after 20 years of
put out there. So,
the previous rates. So the previous rates were 50 billion for international banks and then 25 billion for national banks. So, and the last review was in 2004, 2005, thereabouts. So you can see that it's been a long time. This has been a long time coming. They haven't done any review like this for at least 20 years. So it's been
for the merchant banks at the national
it's been a while. It's been a while coming.
Non-interest banks,
the only challenge is that
20 billion.
This is such a huge leap.
Regional banks, non-interest regional banks, 20 billion. Now, of course, the CBN has said that there are particular ways in which the banks.
I want to know the particular ways. What ways?
Referring to paid up capital, for instance, and using rights issues or offers for subscription, and even offering new shares, basically, or private placements to existing shareholders. They said that they cannot use shareholders' funds. So if we take a look at, and which in fact means that they can't use their retained earnings. We were looking at Access Bank after tax profits that they made. Access Bank declared a 1 naira 80 kobo dividend. Full year dividend came to about 2 naira. So basically, with your after tax profits, you can either pay out dividends to shareholders and the rest you keep with retained earnings under the watchful eye of the regulator, the central bank. I mean, the bank basically has to oversee what it is that you're paying out in dividends. So there's been some pushback with respect to the banks not being able to use their retained earnings. And even Mr. Mustafa Chikeobi, the chair of the Bank Directors Association,
there has to be pushback, because that is crazy.
That,
you want them to raise money from where? With the current economic brouhaha.
with respect to
it is economic brouhaha now. What else will we call it?
The table that's been put up from Nairalytics, which is the research arm of Nairametrics, you will see how this actually breaks down for the banks according to their
Nairametrics.
If you look at what the central bank is using, the share capital plus premium, you can see the numbers for each of the banks. So for example, Access Bank, they have an estimate, and that's in billion, by the way, 251 billion. You can see their retained earnings. If you included Access Bank's retained earnings, they are well above the threshold, because the requirement is, the CBN target is 500 billion. But because the central bank is excluding retained earnings, this would mean that Access Bank would have to raise the difference between 500 to 251.
UBA is also well above the
FBNH, FCMB, Fidelity,
the threshold as well.
And so forth. They cannot add the retained earnings.
EcoBank has the least or a really low retained earning, but have
when you're going out to raise more funds,
very high share capital. So that's, I always wonder for EcoBank. If you look at the number of people that you have on your contacts and the people you do transactions with, you can count on maybe one hand and maybe more than two people that you do transfers to or that have EcoBank accounts. So it's just very. I always wonder who banks with EcoBank. What are the perks for banking with EcoBank? If you know, please let us know. We need to jump in on this speed because EcoBank seems to be a very, very strong bank, and we are sleeping on them.
Capital to meet that threshold. So whether it's a private placement, whether it's a rights issue, whether it's an offer for subscription, they have to give that. And one of the issues that Mr. Chikeobi brought up, the chairman of BDAM, was that, hey, listen, for the banks to do that, you have to have an AGM, an annual general meeting. You have to put out a notice for an AGM. So that 30-day period to do this does seem a bit rushed. So this is going to generate a lot of conversation. Very interesting. They put this out right before Easter Friday, and there's a holiday on Monday. But trust that this is
it's very rushed now. Look at the timeline. So exactly, there's a holiday today and on Monday. So when are you going to call your AGM? When are people going to be able to deliberate on this? These are very, very serious things that you need to deliberate on, and to give them just 1 month
demonstrates that when it comes to the banking sector in Nigeria, we've grown from the requirement of the 25 billion capital base to now 500 billion. Is that an indication of growth, or is it a bit not very realistic, or other factors involved in terms of the numbers of the capital base expected in 2 years? And then just a bit of clarity for banks who would apply for their licenses post the April deadline given, April 2024 deadline given, will they immediately have to meet the criteria given by the CBN? That's what. And then
very quickly. So on the
very important question,
just to make this very practical, if I or Dr.
20 years of growth,
we'll say, okay, where are we going to operate? Are we regional? Are we
again economic brouhaha?
Or do we be a merchant bank or non-interest bank? The same CBN has stated it, so we know what we want to be. So whatever category we fit into, that's the capital threshold that we will have to meet. And so we will have to submit our plan to the central bank before the end of
the year. So like new banks, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to be able to meet up to these new requirements?
2004, 2005. The last exercise we had up until now. So those capital thresholds have to reflect that, especially if you use dollar terms, dollar back then and today. So yeah.
You guys should let us know what you think about this new CBN policy. If you think that it would help the Nigerian economy, will it boost the economy? What are the implications? Maybe some experts here can also just give their 2 cents on how this would help Nigeria as a country, help the economy grow. And if this is also a good sign for the banks themselves, because they are the ones that need to raise this money. I personally think that if maybe some banks need to shut down or maybe need to liquidate and then, you know, sell off some assets and all of those type of things. It might not be such a terrible idea, but I'm sincerely hoping for like maybe some insights from you guys. So please tell us what you think and give us your honest opinion on this. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, comments below, and yeah, we'll be back again tomorrow. Maybe, who knows? But yes, we will definitely be back tomorrow.